Hello, this is Nathan, better known as Crazy Hermit DM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit Homebrew. Joining me today is Brent from Lang Mini Studios, and Chase, better known as Kilk, as we talk about Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop gaming. For the first time out of anyone in this setting, no one's ever gone into the Far Realm.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Well, me as a dungeon master, no one
okay.
has. Like, I've never introduced... I've had...
In the story-wise.
Yeah, story-wise. I've had somebody go into dance... Oh, in that first campaign, you guys opened a portal that punctured through the Far Realm.
And then Finra went into it.
Yeah. And then popped back out.
And then came back out dead.
The fun really began, though, in that first room when you guys really went into the Far Realm. The group goes into the Far Realm, or Gwenagap in our setting, just because we're running a Nordic-themed setting, and it's this way station between the realms. Fights occur, and the groups kind of fight these mind-controlled zombie aberration-type creatures, as well as a quad of mind flayers for the first time.
Yay, mind flayers!
You, as a player, was a little bit...
Yay, mind flayers.
Yeah, well, I was a little put off by
That's
it.
something you hear very often.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I as a player was a little put off by it because my character has actually been killed by a mind flayer adjacent monster.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that mind flayers eat people's brains. So, well, Merrick's had his brain removed by intellect devour. So yeah, it's just like, oh, these guys are bad. These guys, no.
But after dealing...
You did get your brain removed.
Yep.
After dealing with those, like, aberration zombies and the quad of mind flayers, there was a spectator in the background who you guys got to meet. All thanks to Toybar casting Geist again, and found out his name was Court.
Toybar and that guy's spell. Good stuff.
You said pretty fun ways, to be fair.
No, absolutely.
And that's actually like one of my little notes just to hit on is like Toybar using geese creative, or Geist or geese, depending on how you want to pronounce it, creatively again.
Yeah, so the creature just has to be able to understand you. And as long as it can, you can just kind of, make it your buddy forever. I geased that fire elemental. I got the glass dog, but now the spectator. And the spectator seemed happy
the 3 times
that I did this for him.
Yeah, he actually revealed that the Overseer
Yeah.
is enslaving other aberrations, which actually none of them want, because like aberrations in this setting are all of a particular sentient intelligence, and just like us mortals of the material plane, we don't like being enslaved, so why would they? He explained that aberrations are incredibly individualistic and not team players by any means, yet they're being forced to.
Yeah, and that's kind of the things that happens to aberrations, right, though? Like, when we think about it, like, they're just gonna get hit with bigger aberrations just controlling them.
It definitely, for me as a storyteller, provided me with an unexpected moment at that, just because I was not planning to reveal that as a storyteller of why this is happening or why is this particular thing. But you guys, you found out creatively of a way to get an insider source and twisted the expectations of the aberrations and making Court somewhat of an unwilling servant, but not really.
Yeah, not really. He was down to overthrow the Overseer, so...
But yeah, it's just kind of funny that he was being controlled by one guy, and now he's quasi being controlled by another.
Yeah. He'll get over it.
He'll get over it.
He'll be treated better by me than he will by the
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Overseer.
So the other moment before we really deep dive into this next part, because everybody leveled at level 19 after this battle. But the one thing that hit me, and I knew it was what I wanted to hit, is I went over the top with the room descriptions in this, and I wanted it to be confusing because it was the Far Realm. And Yuche says, I don't even know what you're trying to describe to me. And that's when I knew in my head that it worked. Because in my mind, if your character is not being able to fully visualize even what they're seeing, but you're able to get some sort of glimpse or grasp of it, but not really understand, that is the exact feeling your character's having, thus you're having, and that's the feeling I want you to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's the far realm, right? I mean, what else can we expect? And, I thought you did a fantastic job setting it up.
Yeah, exactly. I personally haven't had an adventure in the far realm. In my experience, it's always been the material plane, or we go to like maybe one of the other ones. But yeah, like the far realm is generally not really done by players traditionally. You have to kind of go out of your way to go to the far realm. So yeah, this is kind of unexplored ground for me. So yeah, it was really interesting hearing you describe it and just kind of, oh, this place is. I think it was like probably halfway through your description, I just kind of went, okay, this place is messed up. Let's just move forward and not really worry too much about what the walls are made of.
And you hit it on the head of, okay, he's describing geometry which does not or should not work.
Should not work. Yeah.
It looks like this corner is going in, but it's actually coming out, but it's going in. I can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
And all the rooms that were drawn on the battle map have been these kind of... all these rooms have been kind of roundish, except for this kind of big area, final main area right here with all the benches that I'm looking at right now, with the main doors to lead to the Svartalheim.
Oh, yeah. Because we may have enough, this is spoilers later on, but we have enough to figure out the puzzle, but Chase and I both looked at each other and went, the gamer in me is wanting to go down the next path and not go through these doors.
A little metagamey, right?
Little bit, yeah.
But I would ask our listeners, would you trust even a charmed beholderkin, a spectator? Have you ever had a monster reveal too much of the truth or spill an unexpected twist? Tell us in the comments what your most unexpected NPC ally at the moment is, or maybe even of the past. I love those stories where you hear just like, yeah, we randomly got a boule that was awakened or something like that. I'm shooting off the top of my head. But just those weird, quirky stories. Like, I was really surprised with our, especially our last talk with Rolling with Story, of just some of the things that they've done, describing crystal towers or trees and gods, and like, this sounds even more high fantasy than I thought I was going.
Destroying magic.
Exactly. The other thing I want to ask you guys, though, is like, helpful NPCs do they seem, especially when they're supposed to be hostile and they're natural, I guess it's the Beholderkin's natural environment, is it chilling almost of why you're asking this creature, even though it's obviously charmed? Let's say the Beholderkin was not charmed, and it was just willing to help you guys, and then you guys started asking, well, why are you actually helping us?
Every red flag in my head would go off. This is a trap. It's intentionally leading us this way just to set us up. It doesn't actually want to help us, blah, blah.
Well, especially when you're dealing with a creature that has an intelligence of 20 plus on average with some of these creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to assume that it's thinking in ways that even us as players are not thinking of. And that has been one of the biggest challenges as a dungeon master for me. Trying to get in the head of an literal alien.
Yeah, it's because these are supposed to think so outside of how a human thinks that it's difficult to know even what their motivations are sometimes. Granted, we know what ours is they want to come into the mortal realms and take them over and terraform them to be more like the far realm. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be the overseer that does it. It could be any one of them that does it.
It's one of the better passages in the new Eberron campaign setting book with the 5th edition one where they're talking about the aberration lords, and they say it's like these you don't like most people don't understand what these lords' actual true goals are, and when they do get like when the adventurers or the adventuring party does get the best of them, they often just run, disappear for a millennia, and then they just reappear.
Yeah, because if they're immortal or eternal or whatever, they can go hide in the far realm and just outlive everything else.
And that's been my goal, or at least my mentality with the Overseer in our setting of you guys are going to have to hopefully, like, if this thing can, like, spoiler alert, if this thing plane shifts, figure out how to stop it.
Nah, that's future campaign's problem. If he wants to run away, he can run away. Go hide like the weakling he is.
But after the battle, and then gaining technically new ally with Quark after leveling to 19, this is the part I really wanted to deep dive on because it changes not only Toybar, but it changes also Merrick. And it changes the endgame story for these characters. And Toybar in the Far Realm, no less, gets teleported into Asgard after leveling. This episode's been brought to you by... In the age of sagas and songs, don't let your next TTRPG be left to the Norns alone. Let the fate of your character be carved in runes and cast in metal, liquid core, or prismatic glass. Let the players of your table wield dice worthy of Odin, Thor, Loki, and yes, Heimdallr. Heimdallr dice worthy of guarding the Bifrost with. Claim the glory of Valhalla with HeimdallrDice.com. Heimdallr Dice, the official Nordic dice of the Hermit's Homebrew podcast. Alright, tabletop gamers, go dive into our favorite Goblin-run little workshop. The sparks have been flying, and these little maniacs at the Wicked Goblin crew have just relaunched their store. It's packed with killer merch and literally dozens of different designs on almost anything you'd need at your gaming night, from shirts to drinking glasses to dice trays, and even totes to carry it all away at the end of the game night. And now they're rolling up to the table with us at the Hermit's Homebrew podcast. It's like your own personal goblin craftsman dressing up your game night. You and me had talked out of character about this, about how you didn't care too much about the 20th level capstone ability for Sorcerer, and then we're talking about what can we do to kind of, spice up Toybar one more thing. And we made a deal, like if you forgoed this and then you chose not to do this, I'd let you choose 1/10th level spell. And that led to you being teleported into Asgard and the throne room chamber of a very Marvel Comics description of all gold, where Fulgenir Odin not so much confronts, I guess, but talks to Toybar with revelation. And that's despite...
Yeah, Big Papa Magic, or Big Daddy Magic, or something is what I called him.
Oh, jeez.
But despite the Norns reweaving the tapestries, as anyone that's been listening to our home game recaps, that fate's not immutable according to Fulgenir or Odin. It is a game that should be outwitted and rewritten, and he is frustrated because no matter how much he's outwitted his fate over and over, his predicted death, it seems that it still rears its head. For Toybar, what was it like getting to probably see a more bitter side of Fulgenir or Odin that I don't think anyone really gets to see? And you got to see maybe maybe a shred of his humanity, even just because you got to see the god of magic, as you said, Big Daddy Magic, the god of gods in this setting. He's frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, he should be.
They keep wanting to kill him.
No, I'm just messing around. I mean, for Toybar, it didn't bother me. Toybar was more maybe just starstruck, right? It's probably a good way to put it.
Oh, yeah, he was definitely having that phone number one finger and the Odin t-shirt on during that. So.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's, Team Odin all the way. So...
Which, compared to our last campaign with Kelk and Skaldana, is just like complete opposite, considering that Skaldana was on a Kill Bill quest.
Oh, yeah. She was on a Kill Bill quest, wasn't she?
Yeah. The Allfather actually mocks the Whispers, though, or at least in the scene he did, that the claim that he is an obsolete. He felt like some people are saying that he's a relic clinging on to a story that should have already ended, and he speaks in defiance of Ragnarok. Not by divine hands, but by mortals who stepped beyond the prophecy's bounds. And with this kind of bitterness that I was talking about, with this new resolve that you're getting, like Toybar's getting to see, Folgener reveals that the Norns have begun to spun a new fate, which I do believe Rama has revealed to the group. Because she ran into Folgener as well. But
she did. She did make a mention of it for sure.
Yeah, I don't think she went into like great detail of the conversation that she had with Odin, but yeah, she did bring it up. Yeah,
the thing that he's finding frustrated as most is that he escaped his death in Ragnarok because Fenrir died, actually at the hand of Brent's first group that he was part of this campaign.
You're welcome.
And he escaped his fate. He survived Ragnarok. No one else was going to kill him. And then come to find out, with this fate being rewoven, that Skaldana, as we mentioned, she's gotten the spark of Fenrir. Like, his followers saved his spark. Somehow, unknowing behind-the-scenes story plot devices that I haven't even devised, because it hasn't come up, and I don't want to explain it. It don't need to be.
Yeah,
I don't want to explain it.
Yeah, it's not pertinent to our story right now.
Right.
He's frustrated because now that she has Fenrir's spark, it is destined that she's going to kill him. Which, basically, she's now stepped into the Fenrir role. Which also brought in kind of like echoes of destiny of like, well, if this person has this spark, does that mean they now inherit this?
They are now tied to that destiny. Yeah.
Is it the spark that has the destiny, or is it the individual person? Which leads into way more philosophical and deeper discussions for another episode. But
yeah,
I'm more than willing to dive into that episode, by the way.
Oh yeah. We need to get the three of us together, just crack open a couple of bottles of mead, and then just go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, especially with Wicked Goblin Gaming joining our Penanthlon of sponsors, and he's going to be sending us some lovely glasses to enjoy not only at the end of our campaign, but the beginning of Brent's. So make sure to check out them for a shameless plug. And if you enjoy like just being individualistic at your tables, I highly recommend checking out their shirts because they just have like 20 some designs. You guys could each at your table everybody have their own design.
Mm-hmm.
And it got even more bitter towards the end of this conversation though, because he starts talking about Skaldana, and like you find out that, well, you as a player knew. But he talks about how she is this fallen Valkyrie that he threw away. And now she's to rise up against him and kill him. And is like, why does trash get to rise up against me? And you get to see this. You get to see this very superior attitude of him.
Very much like the Odin from God of War.
Yes. Which I do take shades from. The primary basis for my Folgener Odin is the one from Wednesday with American Gods, this schemer, this planner, and for anyone that has read those books, you know what I'm talking about. Because that is such an awesome twist to those books that I do not want to spoil for anyone, even though it's like a 15-year-old book. To him, though, it's not a destiny now. It's a mockery. Because this person is destined to do that. And it gets into all this thing, and he goes, I'm not going to allow this overseer or whoever it is to destroy reality, because he wants to get involved. And he openly admits that he does, but he goes, according to the Norns, which he does, it's obvious that he still, like, respects, I guess, their, like, he heeds their warnings, I guess. Maybe not respects it, obviously, but he still takes weight in what they say. But they've told him, like, if you get involved in this, you die.
Yeah, because these are the Norns, and that's their superpower, essentially, is that they see fate and they can like weave it and like predict it and stuff. So, you like it or not, you still have to listen to it.
I think I can't remember which one of you we were talking away from the table and off the mic, obviously. When we were theorizing, I think it was one of you guys brought up to me, or maybe I brought up to you. Like, imagine if the Norns are just making up shit just to steer them the way that they want.
Yeah,
they are
like-
the ultimate manipulators.
Yeah,
basically.
like they have zero way of seeing the future, but they've gaslit people enough that they believe that they do. So they're actually guiding everything under the guise of it being fate.
Or maybe they had that once upon a time during Ragnarok, but when Ragnarok broke, they lost
their ability.
and now they just give that false sense of I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Not to give shades of to our local world governments.
Oh, we're all just winging it.
Yep. Odin leads Toybar. We'll get past this bitterness of Odin or Forgener, and you actually get to go into his, like, maybe not trophy room, but definitely where he, memorabilia or where he keeps everything.
Yeah.
Because you get to see, and Brent got to see it for the first time since the first campaign, I describe this golden ring that's floating, and you go to touch it, and he tells you don't touch it. It multiplies if you do.
Yeah,
seven
don't
times.
touch it.
Oh, the coin. Yeah.
It was in Norse mythology. There's an artifact gold ring that if you touch it, it will multiply into 7 more, and if you touch any of those 7 or that's one
Drop
again,
near.
it will multiply even more. And Brent's first group ran into what was it? A Rakshasa.
Mm-hmm.
That had it, and then activated it, and then they ended up locking him inside the room, and he had already plane shifted in, so he'd lost the ability to plane shift out. So he basically drowned in the rings.
Yeah, it pretty much is they kept multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. And yeah, he got crushed by the weight. Yeah. It's like, we could go in and grab one. No, leave it.
Odin offers Toybar something forbidden, though. Raw, divine-breaking magic hidden since he's hidden it at the dawn of time. Who is the giant that starts... Who formed it all? I cannot remember his name.
Ymir.
Yeah. So, he's hidden since the dawn of time, since Ymir, and Ymir split and made all the worlds, and his bones made the mountains of Midgard, and blood made the rivers of this
And all that fun stuff. Yeah, the brain made the clouds. And, Yep.
But he offers you this level 10 spell, which you ended up choosing away from the table, because you're kind of torn between 2 or 3, actually.
Which one?
Yeah. I was mostly stuck between practical usage of spells and fun spells, right? And I came up with a pretty fun spell, but I just felt like it would make combat take forever.
Oh, this was you hit shuffle.
The Whirling Chaos.
Yeah.
Portal.
That's a really cool spell, but yeah, you're right.
It would be an amazing spell, but it would bog down combat, and combat already gets bogged down enough. The one that I was really looking forward to was the basically area of effect Wild Surge.
I have not. Yeah, I have not used my surges on other people yet. Right.
Yeah, you
That's
force
one spell
other
that I
people to
created
get a
that I
chaos
haven't
surge.
actually used yet because it's a scary spell to use.
You ended up choosing the Vaffy's Gaze, though, which is this ability that almost
I did. Yeah.
does this. I'm not even. I'm going to have to look how. I actually have it all written out and converted. I have to give it to you this Saturday when we play.
300 d6.
300 d6, and it does a backlash of 200 d6 or 100 d6 if I remember right.
Back to the caster. Yeah.
Back on the caster, and then my big spin on it was I was trying to debate whether to make it to where anyone that's within 5 feet of you takes half damage off that backlash, because you're just like
I
releasing-
mean, you would kill everybody.
I know it would. But that would be the thing. It's like, this hasn't been casted. It's unleashed. Or maybe it's just the first time it happens just because you're releasing this big, raw thing of energy that has not been released other than by one other person. Maybe two if you count Yrimir.
Mm-hmm.
And it just radiates. I don't think there's any spell in 5th edition that does that amount of damage.
Not top of my head, but...
True. Well, the drawback of it is supposed to be it kills you.
Which,
right? Yeah, you do get to cast this 10th level thing, but then you just die.
Which there was a little bit of confusion with your Epic Destiny. You thought basically you'd get an auto raise, but when we looked at the wording of how I worded it, it says when you go to make a death saving throw, so it would automatically kill you. You'd have to make it to that death saving throw.
And I was looking at that as more of a storytelling ability versus I'm going to just cast this every chance I get ability.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I felt that it would be funny if like Toybar did this big gaze, and then he like is also evaporated. Then everybody's sad and blah blah blah, and then like an hour later he shows back up.
Yeah, and we were
He's
describing
like, "What's up, guys?"
and we were describing that scene from Indiana
Indiana
Jones,
Jones, yeah.
where they're looking over the cliff at the tank that crashed, and then Indiana's like, "Who are we looking at?"
And they all turn and look at him, and oh, you're alive! It's like,
Yeah, that was kind of my goal.
you just want to be like Huck Finn and like watch your own funeral and see what we'd all say about you if we thought you were dead.
Be wearing sunglasses and a little trench coat off in the distance.
Yeah.
I knew the captain liked me. He's crying.
He always just tried to play hard to get. I knew he was a real friend.
Toybar was the only mage that I ever met that actually knew what he was doing, which is terrifying because he was a chaos mage.
Yeah, to be fair, we've done pretty well with Toybar.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, it's gone really awesome.
Yeah, you've gotten lucky a lot of the times with him. A lot of extreme luck.
Yeah, there's been some good ones. I'm sure we'll get to it down the line. But I mean, I think the most broken one was the most recent one.
Well, after that with Odin, we'll go and touch on that a little bit. He speaks of Rama as the goddess of heroes for the first time, or to anyone else in the group. And then he talks about how he's salty that she has chosen to let the gods fall for the sake of mortal salvation. And it's just, he makes it seem like it's another card stacked against him, basically, which it is. And he has a valid reason to be upset. Things are not lining up favorably for him, at least his fate.
To be fair for Odin, he wasn't supposed to live through Ragnarok, and he beat that, so...
Yeah, he's on borrowed time anyway.
Like, is he really that worried about surviving the next time the gods are supposed to die? I mean, the way the Norns told him he was supposed to die this time never happened.
Ooh. Conspiracy theory time. Put your tinfoil hat on. Odin's not afraid to die because he's really a lich.
Can you imagine if he got turned into one?
Oh, God.
It's like a contingency plan.
Yeah.
Let's put on an extra layer of foil there.
He planned it all along.
I mean, he would end up being our settings Vecna, right?
Oh.
Could you imagine if that's how our version of Vecna came about?
Yeah, that's our version of Vecna. It's just Odin as a lich. Oh, wow.
Odin as a lich used to be the god of magic. Now he's a lich. Takes back his hand and his eye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. That has no right being that awesome.
Hey, tabletop gamers. Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.